What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Hope you're doing well, feeling great, and enjoying freedom. It's a great day to have a great day. It's a great day to talk about silver. In today's video, we're going to be doing just that. I want to talk about silver. I also want to talk about gold, and I even want to talk a little bit about stocks. Now, I'm not necessarily going to be talking about silver, gold, and stocks. I want to talk about what happened to silver, gold, and stocks 5 years ago today. That's right. It has been 5 years since the worst day of the COVID crash. 5 years later. What happened? What transpired? Where are we today in comparison to where we were back then? We're going to get into it, but really quick, just in case you're new, make sure to subscribe for a bunch of videos, subscribe to my second channel for bonus videos, and follow me on social media at Mykie DYDSS across all platforms. And of course, 3 quick things before we fully dive into the video. Number 1, if you haven't already, try you out some Celsius Energy. That's right, it's a healthier alternative to the other energy drinks out there. You can get a 12-pack variety pack on Amazon right now. I will leave an affiliate link in the description. 2, if you haven't already started investing and you would like to, make sure to download Webull and fund your account. They're going to give you some free stocks just for doing so, and they make it really easy for a new investor to start investing because of how simple it is to navigate on the app. Link in the description. 3rd and finally, if you need any silver or gold stacking supplies, maybe it be airtight tubes and capsules, maybe it be anti-tarnish paper, lock boxes, microscopes, the list goes on. All silver and gold stacking supplies will be linked in the description for your convenience. All right, so today's video, March 16th, 2025. Now, unfortunately, this video is not coming out on March 16th. I am pre-recording a bunch of videos. I'm trying to do 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 a day so that I can kind of bank them and release them one by one. So this video is going to be coming out a couple days after the 16th. But either way, as I'm filming the video, March 16th, 2025, what happened 5 years ago? March 16th of 2020. On March 16th of 2020, we saw the worst day for the stock market during the entire COVID crash. Now, obviously, during a crash, you see a 20% decline, 25, 30% decline, a 40% decline. But on this particular day, 5 years ago today, we actually saw a market drop of 12 to 13% in just one day alone. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is absolutely horrifying to think about. Because it wasn't just one particular stock. It was the stock market as a whole. It was the S&P 500, the 500 biggest, best performing U.S. companies, publicly traded U.S. companies, took a 12 to 13% hit in one day alone on March 16th, 2020. Now, obviously, the beginning of this COVID crash started in February, and it didn't stop until April. It was just on this downward trajectory for about 2 months straight. But what happened to silver? What happened to gold? What happened to the precious metals during this time? For those of you who were not stacking silver and or gold back then, you're obviously not going to remember this. You may or may not even know this. But in that time frame, silver got chopped nearly in half. Gold got knocked down several $100s. I remember before silver actually got smacked, the spot price was about $18 and change, somewhere between $18 and $18.50, somewhere in that area. We'll call it about 18 bucks. Silver, the spot price of silver was about $18 before everything went absolutely bonkers. Now, when I had first started stacking silver, I acquired my very first piece. At the very end of 2017, spot price was about $17. Moving into 2018, we saw a very slow decline that entire year, went as low as $14. And that's when I accumulated the overwhelming majority of my silver. I got more silver in 2018 than I got any other year. That was my most aggressive silver stacking year. 2019, I didn't exactly start pumping the brakes. I was still trying to get as much as I possibly could, but 2019, the spot price was starting to move in an upward direction again. We saw it go from 17 when I started, all the way down to 14 throughout the course of 2018. 2019, we saw 15, 16, 17, $18. So it was a little bit more expensive. Moving into 2020, it was still in the $18 an ounce range. And then all of a sudden, there was a worldwide health crisis that caused the biggest scare of my lifetime. The biggest scare that I had seen. The biggest panic. The biggest nightmare in the markets that I got to witness firsthand. And not only got to witness firsthand, I was involved in these markets. And I had been saying for years that I need another 10 years or so of silver staying low so that I can accumulate as much as I possibly can before spot price takes off. I had been saying since the very beginning I want spot price to stay low, or even better, go even lower than it already was. $14 to $18. I said bring it down even lower. Lower the prices even more. It's already dirt cheap. Give it to me for even more dirt cheap. I was saying this for years. So even though I was rooting for the red days, I'd be lying if I told you that seeing the spot price get cut nearly in half in the blink of an eye, and for gold to get knocked down hundreds of dollars in the blink of an eye, and for the stock market to be on this quick decline and falling 12 to 13% in just one day alone, I'd be lying if I told you that I wasn't slightly intimidated. And if anybody out there tells you that they weren't slightly intimidated, or that a little tiny speck of fear just crossed their mind, maybe they didn't make any emotional decisions, maybe they didn't run for the hills or panic sell or even panic buy, maybe they didn't do anything like that, maybe they stayed, calm and cool, there was still something that crossed their mind. There was still something that happened that they thought about. Even if it was for a split second. If somebody's telling you that they were completely, entirely, 100% unfazed, they're lying. Now, did I go into panic mode? No. But I will be honest. There was a small part of me that was thinking to myself, oh God. Oh God. What does this mean? How bad is this going to be? How long is this going to last? I didn't know. It was the first time I had experienced something like that. Now I had to take some time to carefully reflect on what was transpiring. I had to make sure that my next move was going to be made out of logic, not emotion. Didn't want to panic sell, didn't want to panic buy, didn't want to panic anything. I wanted to assess the situation and make an educated decision. So that's exactly what I did. The spot price of silver went from about $18 an ounce down to $11 and change in the blink of an eye. I can't recall off the top of my head. I wish I had the numbers in front of me. I can't recall off the top of my head where gold was and how much exactly it fell by, but I know it fell by a couple $100 an ounce, which is crazy. Now, the even crazier part of what happened 5 years ago today, or around 5 years ago, was that not only did the markets, the stock market, the precious metals market, not only did it take a beating, but real life outside of the markets took a beating as well. I don't want to really reiterate what transpired in 2020 because we know. But I have to mention the shutdowns. I have to mention small businesses being forced to close their doors, lock their doors, stay at home, blah, 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 blah. I have to mention that because how do a majority of us get our silver? How do a majority of us get our gold? Where do we get our coins, our rounds, our bars? Many of us get it from the local coin shop. A coin shop in our town or near our town. Driving distance. We leave our house and the coin shop is the destination. We stop by the coin shop on our way home after work. It's a physical, in-person, brick-and-mortar store, a business. And when small businesses were forced to shut down, guess what? Coin shops were included. Many of us did not have that in-person access to precious metals. So what did we do instead? We started revving up on the online orders. Nothing inherently wrong with ordering silver online. I will say this though, support your local coin shop, support small businesses. It's better to get your silver from a coin shop than it is to get it from a website. Reason for that is because the local coin shop is a small business. The online seller has an international customer base. Support the local coin shops. Shop local. And that doesn't just go for coins, by the way. That's the general rule. Support small businesses. But being that we no longer had the ability to support small businesses, we were ordering our silver online. We were ordering our gold online. But all of a sudden, in the midst of silver being cut almost in half and gold being down hundreds of dollars per troy ounce, and all of us frantically running to whatever.com to place an order to get us some coins, some rounds, some bars, guess what? All of a sudden, immediately, the first website, everything all of a sudden was listed out of stock. Out of stock? How could it possibly be out of stock? Go to a different website. Out of stock. Huh? What's going on here? Another website. Out of stock. What in the world? The coin shops are closed until further notice, and the online sellers are claiming to be out of stock. Now, I've never worked for a precious metal dealing company before. I'm not going to accuse them of falsely claiming to be out of stock while they rearrange their prices, but sure enough, a couple hours went by and all of a sudden they were miraculously back in stock and the premiums were like quadrupled. See, before everything crashed, the spot price of silver was about $18, and if you were to go for lower premium silver, like the generic round, the generic bar, a silver eagle at the time, a maple leaf, a Philharmonic, stuff like that, all of that stuff would carry like $1 to $2 premium. So at most, you were paying about $20 an ounce when spot price was 18, roughly, somewhere around there. At most, you're paying about $2 over spot. $18 an ounce, $2 over spot, $20 gets you an ounce of silver. But the spot price had fallen all the way to $11, $12. Let's call it $12. $2 premium would bring it up to about $14. Imagine that. The out-the-door price tag. Premium included, $14. We didn't have that ability. And that's because the online precious metal dealers saw that massive, massive demand. And also, not for nothing, I will be honest, many of them did get a lot of their silver at $16, $17 an ounce. They're a business at the end of the day. They got to make a profit. I understand that. I believe in a free market. Even if it hurts me, the buyer, the customer. Did I like that they hiked up their premiums? No. I was banging my head on the wall. I hated that. That was painful. But I believe in a free market, and I believe in If a business wants to charge a certain price and people are willing to pay that certain price, that business should be allowed to charge that price. It's the way that works, supply and demand. I agree with that. I support that. I respect that. Plus, they couldn't lose money. They're not in the business of losing money. If they got their silver at $16, $17 an ounce, they got to hike those premiums up. So what would they need to do? If the spot price of silver fell down to about $12, a little under $12, and they were used to selling each individual ounce of silver for $20 with the premium included, what would they have to do? They would have to raise premiums by about $7 or $8. But that's not what they did. They raised premiums by $10, $11, $12, in some cases even more. Very quickly, Silver Eagles saw their premiums that were already hiked up even more. So all of a sudden, the Silver Eagle became out of reach. And I gave up on the Silver Eagle at that time. I was, I can't justify that kind of a premium. Yeah, it's my favorite coin. It's the 1 troy ounce pure silver coin of my country. It makes the most sense for me to be stacking. I can't justify the premiums. I can't justify paying that much over spot. So I had to say goodbye to the Silver Eagle. And I was sticking to generics and 90%. Now, a little bit of time went by. The spot price of silver didn't stay at $12. It worked its way back up to $13, $14, $15, $16, $17, $18. Spot price made a full recovery from where it was prior to the COVID crash. Now it's right back to where it was. But guess what? Premiums didn't go down. Premiums didn't fall back down to $1, $2, or even $3 or $4 over spot. Nope. Still $6, $7, $8 over spot. Spot price was $18 an ounce, and these online precious metal dealing storefronts were charging $26, $27 per troy ounce. And guess what? People were paying. People were buying. People were converting their fake fiat, glorified IOU debt note dollar bills. They said, shut up and take my currency. They were paying astronomical premiums. Spot price was only $18, and they were still paying $25, $26, $27 or more dollars for each individual ounce of silver. To me, that's insane. So like I said, I understood why the online sellers hiked up their premiums in the first place. I get that. But they kept them high when they didn't necessarily need to. Again, it's a free market. They could do whatever they want to do, and people were paying. As a matter of fact, because of how much hype and excitement was around the precious metals and the topic of precious metals, more people were buying at crazy high prices than they were at crazy low prices. There wasn't a vicious silver demand when the spot price was $18 and premiums barely existed. There wasn't that vicious demand. All of a sudden, there was a vicious demand when everybody was freaking out. All of a sudden, the people who had the opportunity to get their hands on a troy ounce of silver for $20 and turned it down back then were all of a sudden happily paying $26, $27 for the same amount of silver. Almost 50% more. And they were doing it happily. So it's the way a free market works. If people are willing to pay, you should be allowed to charge. I get that. But it still hurt my soul. It was still painful. And I knew that I wanted to continue stacking. I knew that I wanted to keep on building the precious metal mountain that I had set out to build. I had to slow it down. I couldn't do it. I could not justify aggressively stacking with those crazy high premiums. So what I chose to do was stick to 90% silver almost exclusively for the rest of that year, 2020. And if you go back to the videos that I posted that year in 2020, a majority of what I got was 90% junk constitutional silver. And it wasn't even a tremendous amount. I wasn't converting as many dollars into the silver as I was prior. I slowed it down a lot. I still kept it going, but I slowed it down. Couldn't deal with the premiums. They just did not make sense to me. And funny enough, even though I had slowed it down, and by the way, I got some awesome pieces of silver that year as well. That silver Kraken that you're looking at right there, almost dead center in the video, I got that in 2020. I did get a couple of random silver coins, rounds, and bars. If memory serves me right, I think I got that 5-ounce Aztec calendar that year, or maybe that was 2021. I don't recall off the top of my head, but I got a lot of unique pieces of silver that year. But for the most part, I was getting that 90%, mainly quarters. That's what I was after. That's what was carrying the lowest premium at the time. And that's what made the most sense for someone like me who was just merely trying to get as much of the physical silver content in my possession as I could. That's what I was after. So now that we kind of recapped 2020, where are we 5 years later? Where are we today? As I'm filming the video, spot price is just a hair below $34 per troy ounce. It was $33.88 last I checked, a little bit earlier today. We'll call it about $34 because it did, in fact, hit $34 just 2 days ago. $34 an ounce silver. Premiums are still higher than they were prior to the COVID crash, but I have noticed that they are lower than they were during the year of 2020, 2021, 2022. They are a tad bit lower. Instead of $8 over spot, I see a lot of $3, $4, $5 over spot silver online. The local coin shop obviously charges a premium, $3, $4 per troy ounce over spot. So right now you can get your hands on a troy ounce of silver, a lower premium troy ounce of silver, for about $37, $38. In some cases, $36 and change. $36, $37, $38. And that's with a slightly lower premium than a couple years ago. That's the grand total out the door stack price. See, it's not about spot price anymore. You can't look at Kitco and be like, oh, what's the spot price? Oh, that's what I'm going to get silver for. No. You have to take the spot price and add the average premium. We'll call it about $4, and we'll call spot price about $34. Take the spot price, $34, add the average premium, about $4, and the grand total out the door stack price that you can expect to probably pay is roughly $38 per troy ounce. Meanwhile, 5 years ago, I, and the rest of us, were complaining about the grand total out the door stack price being $26. Because we were used to $20. We were used to $18 silver with a $2 premium. Now we're looking at $18 silver with a $6 premium. About $26. Stack price. Compare that to today. $36, $37, $38 stack price. The point I'm trying to get across is that no matter what the price is, you're always going to look back or reference back to some point in the past when prices were lower, and you're going to think to yourself, man, I wish I got more back then. I wish I capitalized to the best of my ability back then. I wish I was more aggressive. I wished I was more confident back then. So right now, with the spot price being about $34, premiums being about $3, $4, $5, what do you think we're going to be saying if and when, in the near future, silver makes its way up to $38, $39, $40. Premiums, we'll call it about $4 or $5. We might be looking at a $45 stack price. That could very well happen. Now, I personally don't believe that's going to happen, but hypothetically, happen yet. Let me clarify. I don't believe that's going to happen in the short term, but hypothetically, let's just say it does. $40 silver with a $5 premium, about $45. We're going to be saying to ourselves, man, I wish I got more silver when the spot price and the premium added together was about $35, $36, $37, maybe $38, because now I got to pay $45. You're always going to look back, and you're always going to reference when prices were lower. Then again, you can always reference back to when prices were higher as well. And you can always think to yourself, man, I can't imagine stacking silver at that price. What you have to do is you have to figure out for yourself what your limit truly will be. And I know it's difficult because you might think you have a limit. You might think there's a dollar amount that you'd stop stacking at, but then the spot price and the stack and the premium stack price goes up to that range, and then you're going to want to probably move the goalpost. Many of us are guilty of that. But you have to figure out what you consider undervalued for silver. Do you think $45 is dirt cheap compared to where silver could potentially go? Where you personally believe that silver is going to go? If so, 45 is still a steal. 36, 37, today's prices, still a steal. If you think that silver's kind of reaching maximum capacity and you don't believe that current prices make silver undervalued, in which case, maybe it's not in your best interest to be picking up silver. I can't recall ever having a conversation with somebody saying that silver in the 30s or 40s is overvalued. I couldn't even imagine having that conversation, and I hope to God nobody ever says that to me, because good Lord. The point being is that you have to figure out for yourself what you consider undervalued and where you personally believe silver is going to go. And if silver is nowhere near where you believe that it's going, current prices shouldn't be your biggest concern. But then again, what do I know? I'm just some guy on YouTube. This obviously isn't financial advice. Not a financial advisor, I'm a YouTuber. But I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Everybody watching this video right now, what do you think of the current state of the precious metals market? Were you stacking 5 years ago? I've gotten a lot of comments from people. See, one of my most popular responses, I try to reply to every comment, or as many as I can, and if I see a new face in the comments, I always like to ask them, how long have you been stacking? A lot of people have been telling me they started stacking this year, last year, 2 years ago. I don't see a tremendous amount of people saying that they were stacking 5+ years ago. Then again, a lot of the people who have been commenting on my videos are people that were commenting on my videos 5+ years ago. So I don't need to ask them how long they've been stacking for. But the new faces, there are a lot of people that started stacking less than a year ago, or less than 2-3 years ago. In which case they haven't lived through stacking during the COVID crash, or investing during the COVID crash. Stacking the precious metals, investing in the stock market. Maybe they weren't involved at that time. It's a very different world we live in today. I like to believe that we spent the year of 2020 living on another planet, essentially. But again, I'd love to know your thoughts. How long have you been stacking for? And if you've been stacking for over 5 years, what was your reaction to the precious metals tanking the way that they did and premiums skyrocketing? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you guys like today's video, please hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, subscribe to my second channel for bonus videos, and follow me on social media at Mykie DYDSS across all platforms. And of course, 3 quick things as we wrap up the video. Number 1, if you haven't already, try you out some Celsius Energy. That's right, it's a healthier alternative to the other energy drinks out there. You can get a 12-pack variety pack on Amazon right now. I will leave the affiliate link in the description. 2, if you haven't already started investing and you would like to, make sure to download Webull and fund your account. They're going to give you some free stocks just for doing so. And they make it really easy for a new investor to start investing because of how simple it is to navigate on the app. Link in the description. 3rd and finally, if you need any silver or gold stacking supplies, whether it be airtight tubes and capsules, anti-tarnish paper, mini lock boxes, safes, microscopes, the list goes on. All silver and gold stacking supplies will be linked in the description for your convenience. And once again, I want you guys to let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts on everything shared in today's video? How long have you been stacking for? And if you've been stacking for over 5 years, what was your reaction? What was your response? What was your game plan during the crash, March 16th, 2020, or March in general of 2020? How did you take action? What was your game plan or strategy at the time? Let me know in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the next one. Don't you dare stop smiling. Peace.